Congress has only been in session for a couple of weeks, and they are, in my opinion, already acting beyond their stated constitutional authority. If you subscribe to the James Madison interpretation of the Constitution. And as the man who wrote the Constitution, it's the interpretation that I prefer to stick with. Today, Tuesday, January the 14th, the House of Representatives voted to pass, and there's still some steps that it has to go through before it becomes official. But Republicans in the House of Representatives voted for H.R. 28. This is the Protecting Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2025. Now, I know most of the people who watch this, the very few who actually do, and by the way, I'm going to give this video a title that is not misleading. And because of that, most of the people who have the opportunity to watch it will not watch it, because they will read the headline, they will be turned off by the headline, and they will choose not to watch the video. That's okay. I'm asking those of you who do actually suffer through the next few minutes to share it with other people. And I don't ask you to do that to make myself famous or infamous. I just think these are things that other people need to know about. And if you would prefer to create your own video talking about this issue, that's fine. But the information needs to be shared. People need to understand where we are as a republic. So today, the House of Representatives voted on H.R. 28, Protecting Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2025. And they're citing as their justification for this legislation Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Now, they never specify what part of Article 1, Section 8 they're drawing from. And I doubt they ever would, even if I were to ask. And I intend to ask the next time I see my congressman, who, of course, voted for this today and was proud of voting for this today. He has daughters, and his justification was he was doing this for them. I think doing this is a disservice for not only his daughters, but for every American, because Congress has no authority over this subject. Article 1, Section 8 is very clear. Congress cannot involve itself in sports. They don't have that authority. Part of the justification for this was, not justification. Their justification was Article 1, Section 8 authority, which it's not there. There's no authority for this in Article 1, Section 8. But what this will do will amend an education law that was passed in 1972. Now, if Republicans in Washington, from the president all the way down to the lowliest member of Congress, if they're all saying that they want to get the federal government out of education, then why would this legislation come forward, and why would they all support it so openly? This is the exact opposite of what they've been promising us, to remove the federal government from education. Now, you may try to argue that keeping men out of women's and girls' sports has nothing to do with education. And in some roundabout way, you may be right. But that's not what they said. That's not the official government stance. You can find that on congress.gov. Look up H.R. 28, and it will tell you their justification, their false understanding of the Constitution, and it will tell you that this this new legislation, should it pass into law, will be an amendment to an existing education law. Why are they expanding federal government influence in education just after an election where every Republican across the country promised to remove the federal government from the education process? I understand that seeing men compete against women in sports, or teenage boys compete against teenage girls in sports, is difficult to watch. It's hard to watch, and I don't want it to happen any more than you do. But the federal government has no place in this. This is a state issue. And every single time you encourage Congress to do these things, every single time you applaud them for doing things like this, it makes it that much harder to prevent future overreach by the federal government. This should not be applauded. This should not be encouraged. If you want these kinds of changes made in your schools, talk to your state legislators. Leave Congress out of it. And every time your member of Congress even brings it up, you pull out your copy of the Constitution and you demand that they show you where in the Constitution they find the authority to act this way. They won't be able to do it, and you'll win. It'll be a small victory, but it'll be a victory nonetheless.